Who are the most dangerous submission artists currently in the UFC? That's the question I'm going to try to answer for you guys today. I will be highlighting one person in each UFC division that I believe stands above the rest in their high level ability to finish someone on the ground with many different types of submissions. And something that's important to remember as well, this is not the greatest grappler in each division. This is simply who I believe to have the most potential for submissions out of any fighter in the UFC. So it's basically who has the biggest submission threat. Without further ado, let's get right into the video, guys. Let's jump right into the first UFC division, which is the Flyweight Division. It is Alexandre the Cannibal Pantoja. The man is by far the scariest submission artist in the Flyweight Division. Pantoja was able to submit both Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval, and as you can see in the honorable mention section, they both made the list because they're both great grapplers, great scramblers with many submissions on their record, but Pantoja has finished them both. His iron chin helps him walk through his opponents to initiate the grappling exchanges. I watched this guy literally walk through so many fighters and then just take them down, submit them. He's crazy to watch, guys, especially his Alex Perez fight. That was insane. He has beaten and submitted the who's who of the Flyweight Division, and he just seems pretty much unbeatable for a lot of the many newer guys on the come up right now. And the last thing I wanted to note was he has one of the best back takes in the game right now. He's insane. And if I wanted to highlight a couple more people in the Flyweight Division, I want to talk about Tatsuro Taira and Asu Almabayev because I believe they can have the most potential to get onto this list as well. They both have great grappling games, and we will see how they go in the future. Moving on to the Bantamweight Division, we've got Umar Nurmagomedov, and I know, guys, relax. I know he's newer to the division, but you cannot deny that Umar Nurmagomedov is not a force to be reckoned with at this current time. He's got 7 wins by submission, undefeated as of this video, and he just dominated Corey Sandhagen in his last appearance in the octagon. He has an overall fantastic grappling game, and his ability to take the back and apply pressure is some of the best I've ever seen. His favorite submission must be the rear naked choke because I see so many rear naked chokes on his record. Honestly, if he wasn't so good on the feet, he might have more sub wins, but the guy's very well-rounded and he can rely on other areas of his game. Great fighter. I've got in the honorable mentions section, I've got Saeed Nurmagomedov, and I've also got Davison Figueiredo. I believe they're the closest to Umar Nurmagomedov in terms of the most dangerous submission artists in the division. We're going to move on to the Featherweight Division now. We've got Diego Lopez. I know everyone has seen the power of Diego Lopez because he's been knocking out and beating his opponents with his boxing as of recent, but make no mistake, guys, this guy might be one of the most dangerous submission artists in the UFC right now. Even in his short notice fight loss to Movsar Evloev, the amount of submission attempts and the amount of close calls he gave Movsar, one of the best grapplers in the division at this current time, was truly insane. 12 wins by submission, and the man still has time to be Alexa Grasso's BJJ coach. Like, come on, guys. Like, really? We're witnessing a legend in the making. He's an insane guy to watch, and I've put in the honorable mentions, I've put Brian Ortega, and I've put Ilia Topuria because I believe both of those guys in this division have great grappling, and overall have a pretty good submission game, even though we haven't seen Ilia Topuria's that much, since he's been knocking everyone out as well. And I also want to highlight, I think Aljo's pretty good too, and I'm going to put my boy Bryce Mitchell in there because I also think he's a pretty good grappler, and I just like Bryce Mitchell, guys. Sue me, alright? So we move on to the lightweight division, and the most dangerous submission artist in the lightweight division is Charles Do Bronx Oliveira. A fan favorite, a legend to many, future Hall of Famer, Do Bronx holds the record for the most submission victories inside of the UFC in all weight classes. He also holds the record for most finishes in the UFC, period. The man has finished 20 people inside the UFC octagon. Notable submission wins over Jim Miller, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje. He's submitted so many people in the octagon, guys. Too many to even list here. And I will mention this, I believe Makhachev is pretty close, but Charles is the submission king of the UFC still at this current time for me, but that could change over the next few years, of course. Depends on how Islam Makhachev goes with his career. I also think he's more dangerous in more positions than Makhachev as well. Like, if I had to mention a few, like pulling guillotine, on bottom position, on top position, chaining position, submission attempts, I think he's got more versatility in his submission game, in my opinion. I also want to mention the other honorable mention here. You've got Islam, of course, and you've got Moicano. I believe he's a great submission artist, but I wanted to mention one thing, guys, and I want to see what you guys think. I want to put Paddy Pimblett in here because I believe that Paddy Pimblett might be even more dangerous than someone like Moicano in the submission game. I think Moicano is a better grappler than Paddy Pimblett. I think Paddy Pimblett might be a better submission artist in terms of chaining his submissions. We've seen what he's done in so many fights with his BJJ game. I honestly think he's pretty underrated in that department. What do you guys think? Please leave me a comment in the comment section below. And we're going to move on to the welterweight division. Shavkat Nomad Rakhmonov. He's the man, the myth, the legend. This man sports a perfect record of 18-0, 8 wins by knockout and 10 wins by submission. I'm going to put his record up here, guys. 9 first-round finishes. The guy's insane. He's always hunting for the finish in any position he's in, with any way he knows how to get it. He subbed Jeff Neal with a standing rear naked choke. Like, who does that, guys? He became the first person to sub Wonderboy in the UFC as well, and that is no small feat. There might not be a more threatening fighter to the current champion because of his grappling prowess. I also put in the honorable mentions for the welterweight division. I put in Gilbert Burns and I put in Mike Malott. There wasn't too many grapplers that also work in submission attempts, so someone like Bilal Muhammad would not make this list because he's the king of the decision, guys, but he's not the king of submissions in the UFC. We're going to move on to the middleweight division. I have Khamzat Boz Chimaev as the most dangerous submission artist in the middleweight division. I feel like Khamzat has proven himself to be a pretty clear winner of this title, especially after his last performance against Robert Whittaker, which was a first round sub, by the way. It was pretty sad for me to watch as an Australian. Not only does this man get you to the ground within seconds of the fight starting, but he can put you to sleep in seconds as well via his submission game. His grappling scrambles with Kevin Holland were just crazy to watch, and it all ended super quickly with him submitting Kevin in the first round with a dash choke. He may be the greatest pure wrestler grappler we have ever seen in the division's history. Like, look at what he did to Kamaru Usman in the first round. Super impressive. I know it was on short notice, but it still was super impressive to watch. I've got in the honorable mentions here, I've got DDP and Brendan Allen. I think both guys are pretty good grapplers, have pretty good submissions in their resume. We're going to move up to the light heavyweight division. I've got Paul Craig as the most dangerous submission artist in the light heavyweight division. Now, I know that mostly in the past 2 years, Paul Craig has been fighting at the middleweight division, but I just can't ignore the danger of this man, especially when you were in his guard. He's been able to submit the top level competition in the light heavyweight division with names like Magomed Ankalaev, Jamal Hill, and Nikita Krylov under his belt. All of these names fell victim to the exact same move, which is his quick triangle from bottom position. He may not be the greatest all-rounder in the division, but there is no doubt that people do not want to grapple with this man. He's extremely dangerous. I've put in the honorable mentions as well, Nikita Krylov and Anthony Smith. They've both got a lot of submissions in their resumes. And moving on to the last division of the UFC, we've got the most dangerous submission artist in the heavyweight division, Jon Bones Jones. I may be a little biased here, but Jon Jones has proven to have a great submission and overall grappling game. And again, to reiterate an earlier point that I was making when I was talking about the lighter weight classes in the UFC, I just think that a lot of these guys who come from the lower weight classes tend to be more technical and more skilled overall as fighters, but particularly in the grappling department. He has 10 submission wins, was able to win the heavyweight title by taking down and submitting Cyril Gane in the first round. The guy is no joke, and I don't see anyone in the division having an easy time with Jon Jones, especially on the ground. I've also put in honorable mentions. I put Jelton Almeida and I put Tom Aspinall because I believe both those guys have top level grappling and submission games for the heavyweight division. That's it for the video, guys. Let me know in the comments below who you would put in each division on this list, and if I missed anyone, please let me know. If you liked the video, please leave a like or a nice comment in the comment section, and if you want to watch any other videos of mine, I'll put them up on screen right now. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you guys next time.